Oh, shit. This is not working. Rookie. Hang on. No one watched this yet. I'm fucking it all up. I'm not playing my intro, man. All right. Here we go. Welcome back, Fire for Effect Live. September. I'm right the fuck out of her tonight, man. February 7th. And yeah, it's been a little while. We got a lot of shit to talk about. So with me tonight, I have my man, as always. Hang on, let me minimize myself. I gotta get a producer. The Blue Rocketeer is back, and also sports expert, guru, Mr. Ray Rout. Look at those glasses. You look like a fucking Italian mafioso, man.
What's going on? Always love coming here in September, man. It's always my favorite time.
September, favorite month, buddy. Winter's coming. It's a few months away. We got a couple guests. Thanks for guys jumping in. Yeah, it's been a while. Technical difficulties, busy day. I was doing the radio show, and I'm fucking around with new lighting. As you can see, the lighting's a little bit different. I'm still playing with it, but I'm going to leave it for now. We get to rock and roll and get into her. And I've been drinking all day because you know what? I don't care if the Oilers didn't win last night. They can put that shit behind them. They don't have to worry about the hype anymore. They can just focus on playoffs. Get 16 straight wins, good to go. But that's not what I want to talk about. I got a football expert on in the terms of Mr. Ray Rout. Super Bowl predictions, buddy.
Oh man, this is gearing up to be an unpredictable Super Bowl, I guess you could say. So I think the last spread I saw was yesterday. I don't know if the line has changed, but San Fran was like a 1.5 favorite. And that probably, to me, is like right where it should sit. It probably should sit more about even. I know for the Super Bowl, they're never going to have even odds. You're always going to have to put a favorite in there somewhere. But, man, when you look at both these teams, San Francisco just absolutely limped through the playoffs. They should have got knocked out to Green Bay. Green Bay shot themselves in the foot by not scoring touchdowns to start those games. They limp all the way to the Super Bowl. Then you look at the Kansas City Chiefs side, who grew stronger as the Super Bowl went on. But, I mean, when you look at the divisional round against the Buffalo Bills, and Sean McDermott is doing everything in his possible being to throw that game away. Kansas City still lets Buffalo back into it. And, of course, they stay on because of wide right. They get to
wide right.
So, and then they handled Baltimore pretty simple, but I think Baltimore shot themselves in the foot a couple of times. So this is a story, as a New England Patriots fan, I have seen play out many, many times. And when I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, no matter, and I know that my fellow Patriot fans hate hearing this, but when I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they are the New England Patriots of this era. I mean, this is their third straight Super Bowl. This is their fourth in 5 years, I believe. I know I'm around that territory somewhere. And I think that when you look at this game, even if San Francisco didn't limp into the playoffs, Chris, I told you this at the beginning of the season. I told you this when you rehashed the show a few weeks ago, and I'm telling you this now. I do not bet against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because when it comes down to big games, Those boys step up in big games. Travis Kelce steps up in big games. The defense has kind of come alive a little bit when they're supposed to. It started making some plays when they need to. San Francisco's beat up. They've got guys hurt. Let's also not forget that Shanahan is an absolute choker in the Super Bowl, going back to Super Bowl 51, offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, up 28-3. He couldn't kill the clock with like 7 minutes or 8 minutes left in the third quarter. You couldn't kill the clock and call the right plays, calling passing plays when you should be running and just milking the clock down. And then you look at when Kansas City beat San Francisco in Mahomes' first Super Bowl, that game was over, Chris. I'm sorry, Chiefs fans, that game was over. San Fran had a 10-point lead with like 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It even came down.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that game. Couldn't believe it.
All Jimmy Garoppolo had to do was pick up a first down. Shanahan overthought the game again, took the ball out of certain guy's hands, put it back in at the wrong time. Shanahan reminds me a lot of what happened to what's his name? The Rams coach. What's his name? Great coach. Anyways, LA's first Super Bowl was Super Bowl 53 against the Patriots. The Patriots won the game 13-3. And I think that game, what happened is he outthought himself. You know what I mean? He outthought himself in that game, and Bill Belichick took advantage of it. I think Shanahan on the San Francisco side outthinks himself in the big moments, in the big games. He's too smart. I have an old saying, sometimes people are so smart they're stupid. And sometimes that's where Shanahan gets to. I look at Andy Reid, one of the best coaches to ever coach the game. It's like, to me, like he's right there with Bill Belichick and Shula and Saban and those guys. They all sit on that kind of top shelf of pedigree of coaching. And you got the Super Bowl experience in them. You've got the experience in Andy Reid. You've got the brains. I've heard they've had Eric Bieniemy in the building talking to the team. It's a very, very good team. San Fran's a 1.5-point favorite. I'm taking Kansas City straight up to win this game, and I think it's actually it could be a 2-score game, like a 10-point game or something like that, just because that's what it is. But it's really, at the end of the day, to keep the hype going. It could go either way. I'm just going with I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was nervous against Buffalo, and they blew wide right on a tied game. Could have went either way after that, but that's in the books. I was more nervous against Baltimore, number 1 team in the league, and they just gave that game away. They fucking choked, and they gave that game away. So I feel bad for Lamar Jackson, but it is what it is. But I'm not nervous in this game, and I probably should be, but I don't feel like I am. I feel like the Chiefs are poised. I think Tony's going to drop balls again. He's going to be back. I just have no faith in that guy. Even Travis Kelce, he'll step up for sure. And we're not talking about what's her name. I have a Swift jar for that for here. If you say that name on Sunday, it's $5 this time. I'm up in it. $5 every time that name gets mentioned in my house. But he dropped 3 balls in that game against Buffalo, but he also caught 4. So whatever. And then, the running game, well, you got 2 guys who can run that ball. So we'll see. I don't know. Rishi Rice needs to have the biggest game of his life on Sunday. It can't be just Kelce.
I agree with you, but I honestly think that this game's going to come down to coaching. I really do.
Oh,
I think
sure.
And one thing that Kansas City has done to teams, they did it to Buffalo, they did it to Baltimore, and it's exactly what the New England Patriots did. Because if you look at like Super Bowl 49 when New England beat Seattle, that was a good Patriots team. That wasn't a great Patriots team.
Yep.
They had a lot of holes on that team. But when I look at Kansas City, where they remind me of New England, and listen, I compare them to the New England Patriots now. This is the Kansas City is in their dynasty as we speak. Where I compare them to New England, and this is the difference between a dynasty team and a one and done or a good team, is they make you pay for your mistakes. You have to play perfect football against Kansas City, or they're going to hurt you. And I always say this, man, if I broke down a game to you, if you said to me, make a compilation of all the big plays that changed the course of this game, you're probably getting a 2-minute video with 3 or 4 plays, because that's the difference between winning a football game and losing a football game. The difference between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, in the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens, and even the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers, is these teams make the plays that need to be made, those 3 or 4 critical plays in the game, and they stay consistent enough. This is going to come down to coaching. And Andy Reid is the best coach in the NFL. Now that Belichick doesn't have a job, Andy Reid is the best coach in the NFL.
He does it for now, but yeah, I guess. To me, it's going to be consistent defense that we've seen in the last 2 playoff games. So Chris Jones taking it to Purdy. I need to see more of that. It's gonna be defense. Anyways,
Chris Jones really settled himself in because he had a really bad look after sitting out this season and sitting in the crowd and fighting for his contract. Yeah. And then came back and played like shit. Like, he came back and played like shit. And it's like, buddy, you can't pull these kind of stunts and come back and be a shitty player. But I'd say the last half of the season, last quarter of the season, he really kind of stepped it up.
Chris Jones, Snead, and the guy whose name I can't pronounce starts with a K.
Dude, it just took me 10 minutes to remember Sean McVay's name.
Right. So. Clefairy, whatever it is. Anyway, there's a couple of key guys. So I'm picking the Chiefs by 10 points. I'm curious to see how many football fans we got in them. I know Daryl's in there, Mr. High Explosive, OG Misfit. We got a few people on. Thanks. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know if you're an NFL fan. Morgan, what do you think? You could give 2 fucks about the football. Do you watch any sports?
Yeah, go sports.
What do you watch for sports, man?
Yeah, just throw the puck through the wickets or whatever, man. Like, I don't give a shit. It's not important.
Hey, Ray, I know you got to go, but
millions of dollars for a child's game. I couldn't give a shit.
I say it all the time. We get so upset about a game that kids literally pay to play.
Yeah. Well, it's like golf. Like, I don't give a shit how many strokes I take. I fucking paid. I paid money.
100%.
Take as many as I can.
Dude, if I don't take at least 150 shots, I don't feel like I got my money's worth.
Yeah, you know, right? Like, I want to go around another time and get another 300 points. I'm going to let you punch out. I know you got shit to do, but I'm going to give you one opportunity to engage in this game and help us transition. So we have a bit we do called, if this would work, Ask an Army Guy. Is there anything you want to ask myself or Morgan before you hit the bricks? And then we're going to start talking Army shit.
Like, ask you like about the Army or ask you about anything?
Any question. Anything. Doesn't have to be. It's just you're asking an Army guy, but it could be anything.
All right. So I'll prelude this by saying that I made an announcement this week that my significant other and I are finally getting married after being together for 20 years. Right?
I don't have an applause thing, but if I did, I'd play it. Congratulations. I know it's been a long friggin' time. I had no idea you weren't married.
No, I've always, you know what? We got 2 kids, a house. We've always figured we were married, but to celebrate 20 years together, we decided to tie the knot. Keep an eye on your email in the next little while for your save the date, because obviously Army Chris has to be at my wedding.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll ask you this. I decided for my wedding band, I don't want to go traditional gold or anything like that. I want to go titanium black, and I want your guys' opinion. Should I go with the titanium black ring or should I go with the traditional gold ring?
So my wedding ring was titanium.
Okay.
It wasn't black. A lot of people are doing that. That's trendy. I see that all over the place. But I went with titanium because it's indestructible and lightweight. And now I'm divorced.
Oh, shit.
But we get along good. Morgan, what do you think? Did you wear a wedding band when you were married?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna do the opposite way. I'm more of a traditional person. I'm gonna go with gold. And I mean, I don't know what the price of a titanium wedding band is.
Hey, it's cheap.
Are they cheap?
$400 or $500. Yeah, not much.
Yeah, so I mean, realistically, it's the same as a gold wedding band. I mean, obviously, like I mean, maybe from like a safety point of view, a gold band will probably break a bit easier, which is a good thing instead of you losing a finger. Because like if you got a titanium band on, that band's not going to break, but your finger's coming off. So
yeah, when I was working, I didn't wear it, and I'm not going to lie to you, Ray, because I didn't pick them. She handled it. They were done. She goes, here they are.
I think a gold wedding band is just timeless. That's all.
It is.
So with your titanium story, I am pushing the limits here of my luck, I guess, because a few people have told me, and I've heard this before we decided to get married, was if you wait too long, right? It's like, like my dad always says, he knows people who were together for 20 years. As soon as they got married, they got divorced 2 years later, right? But I'm like, no, we're going to beat the odds. I got an appointment on Friday to get her name tattooed on me, and now I'm going to wear a titanium wedding ring. So I am pushing the karma to see if I can survive.
Holy shit, you're
Right,
going all
man.
in.
Fucking respect. In for a penny, in for a pound, right?
Fuck, man.
Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
That's it.
Yeah.
Chris, you know me, buddy. Just impulsive, man. Just got to do it. It's all in. It's all or nothing.
I'll tell you what, though. Like the name tattoo thing, I'm against that. But that's for young guys. I'm like, listen, man, you might want to. I know you just met this chick in the bar last week, and that's an army guy thing. And then the next thing you know, you're getting her fucking name tattooed on you. But you guys are 20 years, 2 kids. I'd say, yeah, you're due, bro.
Yeah, I got a chance. I think we got a chance.
Yeah, you got a good, you got a good foundation. So yeah, no, man, the black titanium, because again, you got to blend it with your bling, right? So whatever.
That's it. And everything I wear is Italian steel and black, and so it all just matches.
I think it'll be good. Find something you like. Is that what she wants? They're gonna match?
She's good with it. No, it's not gonna match. She's gonna probably go gold as well, I think. I don't know. I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be talking about publicly, but no.
Yeah, you better check yourself. Don't worry, nobody watches this.
For her and I, it was it just, we wanted, because we said, like, we wanted to do this for us. We're not doing this for nobody else. And so, like, things like our wedding band, it's like, black Chris, you know me, black titanium is me.
That's you for sure, man.
Yeah, so
it's gonna be good with your white Oakleys contrast, right?
Exactly. One of the 10 pairs that I put on, right? But look, I appreciate you boys. Look, I hope I can pop on another day when I have a full evening ahead of me, so I can just chill out and talk.
Yeah, this is kind of thrown together. We're still fucking trying to figure it out and stuff. So, but I appreciate your time. I really do.
Appreciate you, boys. Thank you.
All right, you have a good night. Say hi to Mama Bear for me.
I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ray Rout, football expert and a good friend of mine, and we'll do this again.
Perfect.
Oh man, I didn't want to talk about the Ukraine. I've been trying to avoid it.
Nah, whatever.
Whatever. Fuck, you're right into her, eh? What do we got here? This is a long. I can't read this. I got to bring this shit up. What do we got here? DBS and spoke about you. Yeah, man. Could you give us? Here we go. We got some questions. Current situation, the media response, shifting to. Yeah, well, fuck. That's normal. That's a great question. I'm going to leave that up for a bit. So. This war is dragged on. I'm going to throw out a couple bullet points and let people weigh in. Morgan, you can weigh in and then see what the viewers, listeners have to say, because I know there's a couple people. The big thing is, one, I can't believe it's gone on this long. Like, I really thought this would be wrapped up. Moreover, on the Russian side. Number 2, maybe I have 5 points. I can't believe there's no air superiority yet. Like that fucking blows my mind that nobody has real. It's a lot of drone shit. I get it, but there's no air superiority. And I said this on DBS. Fuck, like what, 2 years ago now? How long's this shit been going on? 2 years. That first thing the fucking Russians will do is establish air superiority, take out all their C3 command control communications, like do normal fucking doctrinal stuff, and none of that happened. So that blew my mind. One of the big things we're going to talk about today is they're running out of artillery ammunition, and everybody knows me mostly as a counter ID guy. By trade, I'm an artilleryman, and the thing I was probably best at was forward observer. And I know if High Explosives listen, he's an exceptional forward observer, and he can weigh in this as well. They're running out of ammo, so I'd like to speak to that in a bit. And yeah, the media, it's getting old. It's the same shit every day. They've reached a stalemate. And the media, fucking media is the worst thing in the world, especially Western media. It really is.
It is.
And the big thing with that is they're like a fucking goldfish in a bowl. Oh, look, it's Castle. Oh, look, it's Castle. Oh, look, it's Castle. So they've shifted back to this whole Middle East thing. Go ahead, man.
So on the media thing though, so I don't know if you heard. So everybody's love him or hate him. Well, Tucker Carlson is in Moscow right now, and allegedly he's going to do an interview with Putin. Now, obviously, the Western media they're not going to broadcast it, but obviously, Elon Musk is going to let it fly on X. So my thing is, what happens if he interviews him, and what if Putin says, like, listen, like these are my terms, and imagine for 1 second that these terms are reasonable. Like nobody's going to get everything they want. Like Zelensky's not getting everything he wants, but neither is Putin. But Putin says,
maybe you're right. Maybe a wingnut, like if Dennis Rodman can't go there, fucking send Tucker Carlson there.
Right. So
somebody's gonna go talk to him.
But what I'm saying is that they have our Western media has done a very good job of making Mr. Putin look like the absolute like Satan incarnate, and they're making Tucker Carlson look like a nut. But what happens when Elon Musk allows them to speak, and now the world gets to hear what Putin's terms are, and if his terms are reasonable, the Western media is going to do everything just to tear it down.
Yeah, maybe.
And all that means is that the Western media and the West wants this war, because if Putin comes in and says, "Listen, our soldiers are where they are. We're going to draw new lines right now. Like we're going to keep the Donbass. We're going to keep Crimea, which is traditionally Russian anyway." And
well, it's going to happen.
And then
they're not getting anywhere. They're just killing fucking people. That's all they're doing. And Ukraine is losing Western interest. And I use that in quotes. They're struggling to get resourced. They're struggling to get resupplied. They're struggling to get ammo. We're still waiting on F-16s from the Netherlands, which would really help them out a lot, I think, for sure. Assuming you get the fucking armament to go with them. They're not getting the air defense shit we promised them because we fucked all that up. And now they want these old ass line of sight direct fire rockets that have been sitting in a TDM in Dundurn for 300 years that are like garbage. They're literally begging the Western world for our leftover shit. We don't have any more ammo to give them because no country is going to give them all their ammo. 155 ammo is the big one, and they're just not going to get all of it.
No, and I guess this is another reason why, like,
I'm going to bring in Craig too because he can jump in and ask us.
Yeah, this is why I think, like I said, right now, what is it? We are at. They say like we got in Canada, we got enough small arms ammo for like 3 days, right? And I believe there was something in the British media earlier this week, and they stated like I think the Brits have like a month's worth of ammo.
Exactly.
So I mean, are we gonna bleed ourselves dry so we don't have any goddamn ammo for ourselves?
Well, that's just it. We're not going to do that.
I mean, I don't know what to say. And I mean, and we like to we'll kind of laugh at the Russians because someone will be like, "Ha ha, they just took 1,500 T-54 55s out of mothballs and they're using them. Ha ha, look at all their shitty equipment." And I'm thinking, now I'm going to quote Joseph Stalin. And one thing that Stalin said was, quantity is a quality of its own. Would you rather have one Leopard 2A6 or would you rather have 1,500 T-54 55s? I'll take 1,500 T-54 55s. And we've proven this works because during the Second World War, the German Panzers were infinitely better than our Shermans, and we would kill, or they'd kill 4 Shermans to every 1 Panzer. The problem was there was always 5 goddamn Shermans, right?
No, you're not wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, DJ Craig G. Thanks, Craig.
Hey, buddy.
He's my boss on the radio show, and he's here for Ask an Army Guy. So you kind of jumped in mid swing, so we're getting hot and heavy with Ukraine right now, and we got a few good questions out there from the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
I think, they're running out of resources. Russia's now pulling shit out of mothballs, which makes sense, and they're allegedly getting support from North Korea. I don't know if that's true or not. I try to avoid reading mainstream media or media whatsoever, but I kind of track this a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen there. I think they're fucked. I'll tell you why they're running out of arty ammo, because I'm not sure they're managing it very well. I saw an interview with this drone pilot kid. They're using these drone kids, little Nintendo geeks. Who would have thought all that time you spent playing video games would come to fruition as a career opportunity in destroying the enemy? Well, it's true. It has. But if you've got an untrained observer who's just flying a drone around pointing at stuff and they're just pounding fucking thousands of artillery rounds at it, that's not effective use of artillery ammunition. A trained forward observer knows how to conserve ammo, knows what ammo to use at the right time for the right thing. And one of the big things that a trained artillery observer does is advises the support arm commander, the guy he's supporting, say an infantry, guy who's running a big group of guys, and advises him on which weapon systems he has at his disposal that he should use on certain targets, not just firing artillery ammo at everything. It's like we used to laugh is how many targets can you talk the guy out of engaging with artillery? Say, you shouldn't use artillery in that. You should put, like in Canada, tanks on it or lavs on it, or fucking put snipers on that soft target or whatever. So they're not doing that. They're following a heavy metal warfare template from the 70s and 80s, I guess even the 60s. And nobody uses more artillery in the world than the Russians. Artillery in Russia is king of battle, and their doctrinal template is to fucking hammer you with as much artillery as possible. And the Ukraine response to that is counter battery fire and to return it. But there's just no way. Well, the comments are coming in. I'll get to them in a second. I'm fucking blind, so I got to put somebody up on big screen so I can zoom in. I'll get to you guys' comments. Is to counter that. So they want this massive artillery war of attrition that neutralizes the enemy and then allows ground forces, tanks and infantry to go in and hold and seize that ground. That's the basic, I'm trying to explain this so everybody understands, model that they're using. The problem is they cannot sustain it with Western 155 ammo, and they might need to go to 152 Eastern Bloc ammo and start bombing it off fucking Bosnia. I don't know where they're going to get it. But
hey, Chris, I want to dovetail after actually what you said. Like you said, start using, instead of using our 155 because it's not sustainable, use like the Soviet era, whatever you said, it was like 152 or 153. Now, I think we should almost extend that that theory into all equipment. And what I mean by all equipment is like APCs, tanks. Now, when you look at a lot of these Eastern European countries, they were all licensed to produce, and they can produce, T-72 main battle tanks, T-64 main battle tanks. I'm sure whatever artillery pieces and Soviet ammo and all these things. I think we would have been better served taking our money, if we want to support the Ukraine, and giving it to these Eastern Bloc countries so they could produce the Soviet era equipment. So at least when a tank goes down, it's being replaced by more or less the same thing. It seems like one day they've got a T-72, tomorrow they got a Leopard 1, the day after that they got a Leopard 2. Like, imagine if every single day you went to work, Chris, you had a different howitzer. Like, how effective are you really going to be?
Well, sometimes we did. M109s, LG1s, fucking C3s.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm talking about
that question. No, it doesn't work that way.
No.
So it's like I said, when they got three types of fucking tanks, they got Leopards, they got Abrams, and they got Challengers. Do they get Challengers?
And they still got some Soviet tanks too, right?
And they got Soviet tanks. Now think about the maintenance of that.
Yeah.
Now your mechanics got to be trained on 4 different fucking types. That's ridiculous.
I mean, think of like the logistical tail for parts.
Yeah.
Like commonality of parts. I mean, it's the same reason. Why do you think NATO went to like one standard, like small arm? We got, 9mm 5.56 and 7.62.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody uses the same goddamn thing. Why? Because logistically it makes sense. If everybody's using different shit, well, it's a nightmare.
And our mags are interchangeable, let alone the ammo. If you use that, what is it, Stanag
mags, yeah.
Stanag mags, man. My mag will fit into a SA-80, which is a Brit bullpup. First, whatever. So that was never going to be successful, and there's no bottomless pit of ammunition, whether it's 120 millimeter tank ammunition or 155 ammunition. The West has to keep some for itself. All
Obviously.
Western countries, it's not going to just continuously feed the beast. And if you want to tool up ammunition manufacturing to feed this machine, like it's just like, fuck, I don't know if that's going to happen. What do you think, Craig?
Amen.
Do you have any? I'll show you the bit we're doing here, so we're not going off on a tangent. Restream changed all their shit.
I'm sorry, the Blue Rocketeer. What? I'm sorry, brother. What's your name?
Morgan.
Morgan. Nice to meet you, Morgan. Finally,
Yeah,
I've wanted to talk to you for a long time, man.
That's his studio.
That's Morgan's studio.
That's Morgan's studio, man. He's modified it quite well. So Craig, I brought you on. We're doing this bit tonight where you get to ask anything. It doesn't have to be about the military. You're asking an Army guy on anything.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of the show is not to just bullshit everybody and tell you how smart we are when it comes to fancy Army terms.
Mm-hmm.
It's to basically offer the viewers, the listeners, our perspective on any given thing. Could be a life problem, a job thing, how we'd approach whatever. Like, so, take your time and think about it. But we've been kind of going on about Ukraine. I don't have all the answers. I think that conflict's going to go on for a long time, and it will be a war of attrition. And that attrition also includes Western support and interest in it. But at the end of the day, here's my last thoughts on that, and I'll bounce this off you guys. And Craig, you can weigh in too. First of all, Russia can't win this war in Europe. On the other hand, Putin can't lose. Now, that sounds like a loaded statement.
Yeah.
So think about that. And this was said 2 years ago. He can't lose, but Russia can't win. Fucking crickets on that one. Okay, well, that went on like a shit suit.
I'll agree with you and disagree with you at the same time, Chris. I agree with the statement, like, on its face, but to say that Putin can't win, what is winning? So in the media, Zelensky has said, in order a victory for Ukraine means they get back all of their territory and there's no Russians in the Ukraine. That's just not going to happen. The Russians are not giving up the Crimea. It's done. Since 2014, it's fucking done. Right?
Yeah.
So whereas Putin has said they tried peace talks, but who was it? The Prime Minister of the UK at the time, Boris Johnson, kind of shut it down. And Putin was willing to say, okay, we're going to, redraw borders on a map here. Redraw the borders on the map. So now like Crimea, Donbass, and these places are part of Russia. And then, it's over and it's done with. So, if that's winning for Putin.
Why didn't they just have a fucking vote? When Quebec wants to leave every 15 years.
Okay, but the problem is, Chris, like you said, it's come back to the mainstream media.
How many hundreds of thousands of people and shit? But I don't know.
So, if you look at the Soviet Union prior to like 1991, or you look at the Soviet Union pre-1991 before it dissolved. Yep. Those lines for Ukraine were arbitrarily essentially drawn on a goddamn map. The Crimea was always Russian. So, and apparently, they've had multiple referendums and they voted, but then our media says, no, it's bullshit because it was, Russians were counting the votes. And then if we do it, then the Russians are like, no, it's bullshit because the West was counting the votes.
Wow,
so,
that's true.
We can vote it all day long.
Well, both those countries are corrupt. Like people fucking, want to praise Ukraine and all this great stuff and Zelensky. But I know dudes that were on that training mission over there prior to this thing kicking off, and fucking that country had tons of corruption. It's just the same as Russia. So you're right. Who the hell are you going to trust?
Yeah.
You can't trust that if it's corrupt.
Even right now, the official leader of the opposition, I can't remember her name now. I believe Miss Tymoshenko. She was jailed for 7 years for abuse of power, and it's really hokey. And all of the opposition parties have essentially been kind of shut down. Like
that's in Russia.
No, that's in Ukraine.
Okay. Fuck, you do your homework, man. Not even sitting.
Yeah,
there.
like
You
so. I
fucking
mean,
weird.
I'm not, I'm not saying rah rah Russia, but I'm saying like there's more to this than we're being told here in the West, right?
Oh, I agree with that. I just don't think Russia should be allowed to flex into fucking Western Europe.
No, okay,
for no
but
reason.
okay, fair enough. I agree with you 100%, Chris. However, in 1991, we said that when the Soviet Union was dissolved, none of the Eastern Bloc countries we said would become part of NATO. Poland, Romania, the Baltic states. Now they're all part of NATO. We told the Russians that we wouldn't do it, and we did, and we're creeping closer and closer. And one of the things that Putin said, another thing that he wants for peace is, without a shadow of a doubt, Ukraine will never be part of NATO. Not to mention, we're trying to fast track them into NATO. You cannot join NATO if you have disputed borders. But we're trying to break our own rules so these people can be part of NATO, but they don't qualify.
I can't speak to that 91.
So what I'm saying,
I don't know. I can't speak.
We've been the one breaking rules here.
Sure.
And you're wondering. Imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if the Russians started pushing east, and we'd be like, no, man, you're not. Now you got more and more Soviet bloc countries. We'd be like, whoa, absolutely not. You said you wouldn't, and you did. You crawfished on it, and you fucked us over.
That's fair. Yeah, I get it.
This is all open source stuff. Go back, look at the everything that was drawn up in 1991 when the Soviet Union dissolved. It's all there.
I'd have to look back on that.
Yeah,
I really would.
It's straightforward.
When the Iron Curtain fell, but I mean, so what? His Iron Curtain was his version of his NATO. So now it's ours. So fuck you. Sucks to be you. I don't care.
Fair enough. But what we're saying is that we shook on it and said these countries are not going to be part of NATO, and now they are.
I'm going to fucking look up that and make sure we're. And I believe you because you read more than I do.
No, look it up. Because who was the leader of the Soviet Union and when it dissolved, right? Was it fucking
Gorbachev. No, the Gorbachev. Yeah, he had that map of Grenada on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorbachev was I think he got a bit of a bad rap, but in all rights, I think he's kind of a smart man. And these were like Gorbachev's terms.
They're fair. I'm sure we fucked it up. We're good at fucking things up.
Right.
We'll get a fall.
It's just like, why did the West go into Iraq? For weapons of mass destruction. Pfft, great.
Okay, that's not the West. That's George Bush.
We totally found. Fair enough. Whatever. But who's in the driver's seat of the Western vehicle there?
I get it.
United States of America.
Don't fucking think you're sucking me into this rabbit hole. I'm not going down that road, man.
Just saying.
I know. We're not involved. We're just feeding the machine, and that money's running out. The interest and money is running out. So Ukraine's going to have to figure it the fuck out, and they better be able to go to the table.
And as the West loses interest in this, like I said, then if it's a war of attrition, then again Putin's going to win, right?
Yes,
the Russians are really good at having everybody else exhaust their logistics, spend all their money. I mean, I don't know if you remember this limited skirmish in 1942 in this place called Stalingrad.
Yeah, it was just a fucking small event on the historical horizon.
There's a small event on the Volga River, called Stalingrad, and look what they did.
And I honestly believe, hand on my heart, that in a war of attrition, without continued Western support, which is dwindling, the Russians will win. So if I was Zelensky, who's popular or not popular right now, depending on who you're talking to, because he wants to fire his head of the military, he better figure out what he's willing to give up, because in a sustained long conflict with dwindling Western support,
I would think firing the head of your military at this particular point in time is probably a bad decision.
Probably a bad idea, right?
That's really bad idea.
No, 100%.
That's just my opinion, right?
And you're not wrong, because there's a bunch of interview with the troops, frontline guys in Ukraine, and they're all pro whatever Buddy's name is, and they're not anti-Zelensky. They're just rather see him step down than the head of the military. So there's some fucking conflict there. And 100% correct. When you're balls deep, you know, you don't switch out your head guy.
Mhm.
No,
That's not very, very fucking smart. So
no.
I do have a couple questions for you guys. So
okay,
we'll,
we're gonna answer
if you don't
OG
mind, but
Misfits
I
first.
actually, yeah. So OG Misfit here says, so I drink James Ready 5.5.
What is that?
Jesus Christ.
It's beer you can buy in New Brunswick.
It's fucking
Oh, is this?
terrible.
Oh, we got
is
some
what it
East
is.
Coast shit going on here.
It's fucking awful. I've tried Pilsner and found it the worst beer I've consumed. Can you justify its existence? I absolutely can. I work
You go
for
ahead.
one of the
I gotta go get another Pilsner while you
I worked for one of the places that actually sells both beers. And I can tell you that yeah, James Ready is just not, it's not it. I
No.
can't. Buddy, I can't stomach it. I cannot do it. I can't. Just can't do it.
No, I can't
Pils
do
is
it
actually
either.
really Pils is a really good beer. Actually, it's not bad. I'm actually drinking Heineken right now, so that's kind of what I'm doing. You know what, Morgan? You know what I'm doing, buddy? I'm drinking a beer that Army Chris would make fun of. That's what I'm drinking.
What do you
now.
drink? Heineken?
Heineken, yeah.
You know what? In the Netherlands, nobody fucking drinks Heineken.
What's that? That's a classic thing too. In was it Stella, Belgium, right? Same thing. Like,
yeah, that's wife beater beer there.
Honestly, there
it's
like Canadian. It's like it's not anything special. But
Yeah.
here, of course, it's like a wonderful import kind of thing.
I go to
right?
Europe a lot, and when I'm in Belgium, I don't drink Stella.
Yeah. Oh no,
Uh,
absolutely
so-
not. No, you drink something else. Absolutely.
So when I come out in
drink
the
something you don't know.
summertime, you got to get me some of this James Ready 5.5. Morgan, have you had this? You're
don't
fucking
need
East
to.
Coast. as
Yeah,
fuck.
You're
I had it when I lived in New Brunswick, and it was less than impressive.
Yeah, it's not. I'm sorry, it's just OG Misfit. You sound like a great person, my friend. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
man.
fucking terrible taste in beer. So that's what I have to say about that. But anyway, go
Go ahead, Craig.
Pills gives me some filthy bread like overproof. Oh, okay, all right. Well, to each their own, right? So I drink. I'm one of those beer snobs. I'm one of those craft guys. So.
I like all kinds of beer, but my
Yeah.
default go-to is Pill.
Pills is a great beer. It's a
When I'm on a
fabulous beer.
patio, I like
Great.
Grasshopper.
Yeah.
Big Rock Grasshopper.
Are you talking about grasshopper, like Big Rock Grasshopper?
Big Rock Grasshopper. That's an Alberta beer, brewed in
Of
Calgary.
course it is. Yeah, Big
And I
Rock's
like
a
it. I like it with a
fantastic
chunk of
brewery.
lemon. I'm not a fruity beer guy, but when I'm on a
Yeah.
patio, I want a Grasshopper with a slice of lemon in it. It's meant to be served that way, and that's how I like it.
One of my
That's
all-time
good.
favorite Canadian beers actually is Big Rock Traditional Ale. It's a fantastic beer.
Yeah, Big
Really,
Rock.
really
And
good.
Great.
I have my own private
Fabulous.
reserve of Positive Mike's beer. I don't have any up here because I drank it all.
Mhm.
And he made a Fire for Effect beer for me. I probably might have a few left that I saved for guys,
Nice.
but yeah.
Okay, so
go ahead, Craig.
I got two questions for you guys, and I think
All right.
both of them are good. And one of them actually, Morgan and you were talking about a while back in regards to kind of censorship and sort of the government that we're currently under and what have you. I have my days where I don't mind the government, and I have my days where I absolutely can't stand them. So it just depends on my mood, I guess, essentially, probably like most Canadians these days. So the first question that I have though for you guys is, would you say that Saving Private Ryan is one of the greatest examples of what it could possibly be like to jump off of a boat and storm a beach? Like basically what I'm wondering is from each of you, I'd love to get what each of your favorite military movies are. I just think Saving Private Ryan is the beginning of it. Everybody knows is absolutely insane, and everyone's looking at it thinking, like, is that actually what it was like? What it was fucking like? And then you hear some podcasters of like army brats, and they say, you have no idea, like jumping off of a boat onto a beach that you've never seen before and realizing that you're getting fired upon. There's no other feeling like that. So I'm just wondering if the two of you guys would be able to
Well,
talk about your favorites.
Morgan's an infantryman by trade, so I'm going to let him answer this first.
Movie. Let me see. I mean, that's kind of Saving Private Ryan is definitely up there. But I'm also a big fan of. I really enjoyed Black Hawk Down. I mean, Black Hawk Down was I think was well done as something a little bit more modern.
Right.
But I mean, I think along the lines of Saving Private Ryan, I mean, the original Band of Brothers, I mean, that series was like, that was next level.
But I think Craig's
Level.
driving at the
You know,
vision.
it was because it was interesting because it was same time see the airborne drop, you know, because I mean that was going on at the same time. I mean, so you had, you know, Saving Private Ryan D-Day was happening, but I mean that drop was happening at like D-1, D-2, so you kind of get to see you kind of get to see that. Another one that you guys have you ever it's based on a book. It's called Generation Kill. Have you guys ever seen that? It's an HBO miniseries.
No.
If you've never seen it, it's worth watching. It takes place during the invasion of Iraq in 2003 with a bunch of forced recon Marines, and it's a true story, right? It follows a company of reconnaissance Marines, you know, from the beginning of the invasion until they actually get to Baghdad. And the book was written by a Rolling Stone reporter. And in the movie, like he's there, like embedded with these recon Marines. And it's kind of interesting because you know, I mean, you watch Saving Private Ryan and you got a 1940s mentality and you got, you know, the Greatest Generation and things like that. But think of like us, Chris, and our generation, you know, like Gen Xers and millennials. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, everybody's got a fucking GoPro on their head, and just the shit we talk about, and just kind of how rude we are, and how we don't give a shit, and the video games and all these things. Like, so it's in some. I know for me anyway, it was very relatable. So, and it was, you know, kind of entertaining. So if you've never seen it, it's a 7-parter, and it's really worth watching.
Very cool. Morgan, if I can ask you real quick. Sorry, Chris, we'll get to you in just a second, brother. Sorry, I don't mean to take over your pod or anything here.
Oh, nuts, man.
But no, I'm wondering too, both of you have either of you seen American Sniper?
Yes.
Yeah, and what did you think of that?
Oh, Morgan's a sniper, so I'll let him speak to that.
I mean,
wow, okay.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, no, he's a sniper.
No, I didn't know that. Nice.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, by the way, thank you for your service, brother.
Oh yeah, no worries. Loved every second of it, man. My career was excellent. It was a good movie. It was well done. I mean, but like anything, I mean, you get your
Hollywood moments,
twists onto everything, and it gets a little bit too Hollywood. But I mean, the movie was well done. Bradley Cooper did a good job. I mean, that movie essentially spanned over. I mean, Chris Kyle did like a half a dozen deployments. So, I mean, this is an hour-and-a-half movie that they tried, you know, it was 6 years essentially to try to cram into 2 hours, right? So, you know, there's a lot of things that were missing. That, again, was based on a book, you know, that was written, or, you know, Chris Kyle's, you know, story, you know, God rest his soul. And I think it was fairly true to form. Like, I know from like a sniper's point of view, like, and, you know, they say he was like the deadliest sniper in U.S. history, or something along those lines, because of his his amount of kills that he had. Because I mean, I'm not trying to take away from the man at all by any means, but I mean, he did so many deployments, and he was in a target-rich environment, like places like Fallujah and Baghdad. So I mean, it's like being in Saskatchewan shooting gophers. Like, if you're in Saskatchewan shooting gophers, you're going to shoot a shitload of them, you know, on an afternoon in July. So, I mean, but he was doing the business, and he, everything that everybody says about him, all the good. I mean, the man, he deserves it. And so it was well done, but unfortunately, so much information in so little time. So there's things that are missed, and there's some, and in Hollywood, I mean, with the Iraqi sniper, they kind of, that was a bit far-fetched. You know, this guy's with a Dragunov shooting things at like fucking 2 miles. Like, that's not fucking happening. You know,
right.
But
right.
But there was absolutely these like Iraqis, you know, snipers with Dragunovs that were deadly accurate, and they were an absolute, you know, threat. The greatest threat to a sniper is another sniper. So it was well done, but a little bit Hollywood.
The reason I'm asking the two of you guys this is because I think, you know, you see like was it Jocko Willink? Jocko Willink, right? You see like all of these guys on YouTube and stuff like that, and they tell you, you know, he does like the breakdown, which is really, really cool and stuff like that. Of like, there's this one movie where like some sniper pulls up and shoots a guy in the side of the head, and he just falls perfectly back onto someone's arms that are waiting in the lake, and Jocko's like, no, that's not happening, right? A person doesn't drop like that, right? No. You know, so it's like, well, that's, but I think that's why I'm asking you guys this, is because with you guys with real world experience, it's it's physically impossible for me to know what it's like to get off of, an airplane somewhere, jump in, a Jeep, get deployed, at some place in the Middle East, know what that smell is like still to this day when you wake up in the morning, and know what a camel spider is too. Like, is that what it was, Army Chris? Right?
So yeah, that's a horrible
Right?
fucking animal. But to
Right.
go
So
back-
it's like that's basically what I'm asking you guys. This is like, in regards to some films, I appreciate, Morgan, some of the ideas and examples that you've given us so far in regards to the things that you've looked at that you've thought are really great. My wife just chimed in. She's like, "Oh, you're talking to Chris and Morgan." Gallipoli, the 1981 film.
well, I'm going to go back to Saving Private Ryan first.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The first part of it is what I want to speak to, is how visually intense that it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
The
I think
vol-
that's the thing. It just instantly, as soon as you
Yep.
see those
so the
those
volume,
ships going across, you're just like, your stomach starts turning in.
The
I've
volume of
never been in the
activity-
army before,
it's
It's like,
insane. So the volume of firepower you see in the opening scene of that movie is very accurate. The Hollywood part is, for you as a viewer, they need to they amp up the visuals, right?
right.
Whereas in real life, and Morgan, you can speak to this, you can't see that many bullets in real life,
No.
right? Not every round is a tracer. So they created this amazing visual with the German MG42, which is still probably one of the greatest machine guns ever made.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Chris, can you just really quickly explain what a tracer is? What is that
So
exactly?
a tracer round is an incendiary round that allows you to see the flight path of the projectile. Right?
Okay, so
Imagine
how do you?
Star
I'm just
Wars.
wondering, how would you have one of those in a handgun?
Well, you
Because I thought
can't.
Okay, all right.
So,
I see.
like,
Okay.
for
Machine
me,
gun only.
my
Really?
magazines were
Oh,
loaded
okay.
like
So
this.
like automatic weapons and semi-automatic.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
loaded
get it,
all
I
my
get it.
mags in Afghanistan like
Yeah.
this. My first 3 rounds in a 30 round mag, but we never had 30 in because it wasn't good for them. It was more like 27 to 29. Were trace rounds, so that I can indicate a target to my guys. They could see the bullets go towards a target and say, bad guys are over there. So the first 3, and then the last 2 rounds were also trace. So I knew I was going to run out of ammo.
And does
Okay.
that help? Does that help the other guys in your
That I'm going to
group?
run out of
Like,
ammo? Well, not really. That's more of a me thing.
Okay.
So each mag was about 3 trace, 20 ball or 22 normal bullets, and then 2 more trace in the back end. So I knew that my mag was going to be empty, and I stacked all my mags that way. Now in the movie, enough about that shit. In the movie, you see a lot more tracer fire to give you, the viewer, the visual of how much shit's flying through the air.
Of how intense it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But when you're under contact, first of all, there's an old adage, you don't hear the round that kills you. Okay. So if you heard a crack, and you're alive, because the bullet moves faster than sound. So you don't, when you
So
hear
that-
or see the muzzle flashes, that's a good thing.
That's a great question. Have either of you? I hate to ask this, but have either of you been shot?
Not shot, but shot at.
Shot at.
Okay, right. Obviously, you've been shot at, but so there's that classic thing of a Hollywood movie when someone gets shot. It's like, right, and it's like it. Is that what it sounds like?
That's what a
Or is that-
round actually sounds like flying through the air. It goes.
Yeah.
The Hollywood's got a different
fuck,
version
Are
of
you
it.
serious?
No, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Part of training that we used to do it. I don't know if they still do it. What you do is you'd have like a machine gun. You'd have a machine gun set up, and then guys would actually be forward of the machine gun in like a depression
I
in the
hope they're still
ground,
doing that.
right? And so the machine gun would get fired over their head. We used to call it battle inoculation. So that way you could actually hear what a bullet sounded like, or what bullet sounded like flying over your head, and then it would hit like a backstop. It would hit the a bit like a lump of dirt, whatever, a couple hundred meters past it, and we call it like a cracked thump demo.
Crack thump.
So
Yeah.
the soldiers would kind of get down on their knees, kind of thing, and someone would just shoot over their heads to sit.
Yeah, you're in a
to say,
depression of
This is
bowl,
what it
typically,
sounds
and
like.
they just fire, and they would fire different weapon systems, so you knew the sound of 50 cal, 7.62, 5.56, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
You had an idea what that sound sounds like from when it from the crack, that's
Yeah.
the fucking when it's fired, to when it goes over your head and impacts or whatever, right?
Yeah, picture like you're sitting in a trench that's dug in the ground, but you're sitting in the bottom of it, and bullets are flying over your head, right?
Right. So, and then is there that classic thing too of like from the time that you hear the gun leave or the bullet leave the gun from the crack, the initial crack?
Well, you'll hear
To-
the
to
bullet
the
go
point
over
of
your
impact
head
somewhere?
first. You'll hear
Does
the
that-
bullet. You'll hear the bullet go over your head.
Right.
Then you'll hear the report of the gun when it actually fired. Because
Right.
once again, the bullet's moving faster than sound. So it's like
Right.
bang, 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 like that.
Okay. So then that gives you guys an idea as to where that sniper or those shooters could be.
Well, that's the theory. Actually, in reality, it's a fucking gong show.
It's a gong show, yeah. But in theory, like if because there's a time of flight on the bullet from the crack to the thump. Like if it's like crack thump, they're pretty. You're like, yeah, they're pretty close. But if it's like
200
crack,
meters,
Right.
300 meters, whatever.
you're like, okay, he's probably further away, right?
See, that's why I'm wondering, guys. This fucking awesome. Like, this is the type of stuff that I've wanted to ask Army guys. Is the fact that like you see so many movies of somebody like pew, right, and all of a sudden the hero of the movie is like boom, boom, and they end up shooting the lead bad guy in the head, right in the middle of the head. It's like they know exactly where they shot from. But you guys are saying the likelihood of that's probably not gonna. You're not gonna know exactly where a bullet has. A bullet's like start. The start of its flight basically is what I'm saying, right? Like
the only way the way you know, generally speaking, where it's coming from, if it's being fired from like an automatic weapon, if you were to look around, you're going to see the weapon signature. So I mean, that machine gun, if it's rocking at the cyclic rate of a C6 is, I don't know, like a couple thousand rounds a minute. So it's going to stir up all kinds of dust and grass and shit and corruption. So
right.
One, you're going to hear it, and two, you're going to see it, and then you'll see the muzzle. And if it's at night,
and
you're going to see muzzle flash.
That's coupled with like situational awareness. It's the
Yeah.
first thing we do if you're like a guy of Mayan Morgan's rank who's been in the game a while is where's it likely to be coming from first?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Where am I likely? Because typically in Afghanistan, you're getting ambushed, right? Unless you're on a deliberate op, then they're defensively dug in and they're engaging you as you advance. So it's where are they likely to be engaging us from? And then from there, we're going to figure out specifically where it's from so that we can put resources on that.
So essentially what you guys are saying is like, okay, so say you're looking at like, oh, fuck, I don't know. I don't know how to paint a picture. I'm not a movie guy or anything like that. But like, say you kind of can tell that maybe, I don't know, 50 to 80 yards away, 100 yards away or something like that, you can almost tell where gunfire is coming from. At that point in time, you guys would end up taking cover and then look towards that area and figure out, okay, there's a bunker, there's a vehicle, there's an oil drum or whatever. Like those are the types of places where the enemy could be hiding out. Is like that kind of the way you would do it?
Pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close.
For civilian description. So typically we use something, and I'm not going to get too far into it. We have an acronym called GRIT, and I'm going to focus on the RIT. Don't worry about the G. And that's the range, indication, type of target. So it's like left, 11 o'clock, 200 meters, enemy fucking sniper, whatever. So he tells the rest of the guys in your group, that's the G, which could be a section, platoon, whatever, where that bad guy is. Sounds good on paper, doesn't really work out that way all the time. But we have a method to identify it, right? Because it's not you, it's you and your guys. When you're mounted, it's a little bit harder. When you're dismounted, you got more eyes on, and you're constantly communicating with your guys if you have radios or hand signals or yelling, whatever.
Sorry, what's the difference between mounted and dismounted? Sorry.
You're in a vehicle.
Oh,
so you're in like an armored vehicle, like a LAV.
Yep.
Well, the only guys who have eyes on is the gunner and basically the crew commander. Right? So you come under contact, where is it? And then now you're talking within the convoy to the other vehicles in the convoy. It's like contact left, okay? And then some turrets swing over, and then boom, 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 boom,
This
boom.
is insane, man. Holy
But when
shit.
you're dismounted, you're counting on your guys or you. Like everybody has to communicate dismounted as to where it's coming from. So where is it likely to be coming from? And then it's somebody has to using a methodology that we have is identify that target, that allows the section commander, platoon commander, whatever, to determine what his response is going to be to that threat.
Yeah.
Is that I trying to explain this in
No,
fucking
that's
simple terms.
actually that's brilliant. Okay, so here's another quick question for you guys. I think I'm not sure what it's like the difference between Canadian American forces and all that good stuff, but there's the one movie where somebody was walking through, and apparently a hallway is like the worst thing in the world for you guys, like the worst, because people can come out of almost anywhere, kind of thing.
Well, you're going to get into CQB shit. Yeah.
Yeah, if
right.
you're
So-
the minute you find yourself inside of a building, it's that
Fucking
sucks.
totally
Really,
different
eh?
ball game. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Ask.
So
ask
I'm wondering, there was the thing of like a guy basically like walking past and tapping somebody on the shoulder saying, "I'm the last guy in line," like all of those
Last
types of
man,
things.
yeah.
Last man up or what have you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like you guys have to, one of the things that I find so fucking impressive about all of the forces, all of them, is the fact that you guys have to have language in absolute quiet.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like you guys have to be able to communicate in silence, and I find that
and that's
fucking
just done
fascinating.
through repetitive drill and repetition. We all
And sometimes it's not that you gotta
Theoretically,
you gotta be able to do an absolute silence. Sometimes it's so goddamn loud you can't speak either. Like
For sure.
was-
it's all like you gotta be able to look at people and send people and you gotta be able to communicate. Like
Actually,
through
that's-
fucking, like
that's a really
charades.
good point. I've found it harder to communicate in louder situations than
Yeah.
quiet situations.
Jesus.
When there's so much
guns
shit
are going
going
off
on,
and
you
shit, it must be
cannot.
fucking
I
loud.
can't
Yeah.
communicate. So it's like I look at you and go, "Look at me." That was that
Yeah.
means.
Look at
And
me.
it's like that way, fucking. And then you really count on the smallest
Stay
group,
down, stay low, or like
smallest
yeah,
group
that.
you
Like,
work
is it
in.
just is it a lot of like just obvious what
yeah.
would be
Yeah,
It's all
Yeah,
all the
hands-
hands. All these things are things we train on, and it's all scripted. Like it's
Yeah.
it's its own language, really, right?
fuck? That's
Just,
amazing.
just
man.
like
Like,
somebody
this is-
somebody that's deaf has like American or British sign language.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah,
our own hand
absolutely.
signals.
Absolutely, yeah. You guys would absolutely have to. And the whole thing is, I mean, listen, the average deaf person is going to be the first person to say, "I don't have people firing at me." So,
Like if you, me, and Morgan
you
are
know.
on the street, and he's 20 fucking feet down the way, and I go like this, he knows exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
You don't have a fucking clue what I'm talking about. That
No
means
idea.
come here.
Come
That
here,
means on me.
on me.
no way on
Yeah.
me. Fuck,
It's
that's
just little
amazing,
things.
man. That's amazing. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, guys. I really appreciate this.
Well, that's why we have these
sorry-
sessions.
Sorry, that's why we've got these rock and roll sessions. Okay, so Chris, you actually started talking briefly about Saving Private Ryan, but you haven't given us a movie that you think was really cool. Morgan's were awesome. So
Well, so Morgan talked about American Sniper, and I'll tell you what. So I ran 2 deployments. I ran counter ID teams, bomb disposal teams. Well, the last one for sure, and I did a bunch of different shit on the first
Oh,
one.
here comes the Hurt Locker.
Here comes the Hurt Locker. So the
Okay,
movie- Have you seen the Hurt Locker, Jeremy
Yep.
Renner?
Yep.
Great movie for a Hollywood movie, but
okay. Yeah.
entirely. And the equipment is very accurate that they use in the movie. Like it's Med-NGOD9 bomb suits. They got pack bots. They got hook and line kits. All the right stuff to do bomb disposal. But the methodology is fucking 1,000% Hollywood.
Yeah.
So we got interviewed when it came out right when we were deploying in 2009. And we got like, I don't know if it was a sneak peek, but we got interviewed all the guys in my squadron on, not all, everybody, but you know what I mean? A
Mhm.
few guys on what we thought of that movie. We had to preview it in Wainwright in modular tonnage. It was really fun on pre-deployment training. And again, great piece of filmmaking, but that is conventional. Real bomb disposal is not near as exciting as that movie makes it out to be.
Yeah, I can imagine. Fuck.
But yeah,
I just like a few others like fucking popped in my mind. But one thing I will say about American Sniper, you know that opening scene where Chris Kyle is on the roof?
Yep,
And,
of course.
With the
and
kid?
there's,
With the
there's
kid?
an American M1 Abrams tank. There's
And he's
Marines
got
in
his
front of
spotter
it,
with
like,
him, and
yeah.
Yeah, like that right there was like very well done. That was very accurate. Like I have essentially been like in that position. That's a task that a sniper team will be handed, and it's just called Overwatch. Most of the time, it's pretty boring. Most of the time, nothing happens, right? But the fact of the matter is that you're up there. You're usually in that position prior to like that ground unit moving through whatever piece of ground that you've been observing. So as they're moving in, you can kind of relay information. You'd be like, yeah, here's some, here's some real-time information. I've been watching it. Like, watch out for this, stay away from that, and stay away from this road. Or I watch somebody, do something nefarious, on this GO trail or what have you, right? And then in the event that, like, because you're in an elevated position, I
was just going to ask you that. Yeah.
You're in an elevated position, and if you see somebody that's going to, cause harm to those guys on the ground, well, then it's your job to kind of dispatch that bad guy, right? So that is that right there, like at that very opening scene in American Sniper, that was really well done.
So would you have like a,
and it was very accurate.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris. Would you essentially have like a microphone, like with you being in that kind of like upward position, like the top?
Yeah, you're going to have
right? You're in elevated
communication
position.
systems.
Is your communication system like constantly live, or do you have to like kind of click in and say, guys, watch, 12 o'clock, there's a red car there might be somebody behind it,
yeah,
kind of thing?
Yeah, right? It's not live. You got to press a button, because there's one net and there's so many people trying to talk on it. So like me, like I'm a sniper we're not the main event. Like we're a supporting element, right? So I'm not going to clog up the airwaves, telling a goddamn story. As soon as I see them, I let them know. I'm like, hey boys, like, just so you know, I'm in the area. Here's my location. I've got eyes on. If you need me, I'm here. Out, right? And unless I see something that is a direct threat, I don't say a goddamn word, right?
Call sign chaos.
Amazing. Holy fuck, man. Like, this is the type of stuff that the average person has no idea, because again, Hollywood doesn't get into this type of stuff, right? As far as they're concerned, I think they do. Sure, I think they try their best, absolutely, and I think like we've brought up, I think some films have definitely tried their best. I have a lot of respect for for Saving Private Ryan.
We were soldiers, Vietnam. That was a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, for
you want
sure.
to see a fucking cool one that not a lot of people have heard of? Watch Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, I've heard of that. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
Fucking Medal of Honor. It is fucking crazy, man. The shit that guy goes through.
Even like Platoon with
Platoon's good. Oliver Stone did a good job. There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, you were gonna say something there about Gallipoli, 1981 or 83.
Yeah,
1981. Yeah, no, just my wife's favorite film, and she loved that. Yeah, so just I mean,
who was that? Was that a Mel Gibson film?
It was.
I think so. It was an Aussie film.
Yeah, Mel Gibson and Mark Lee. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
It was a good. It was a good movie. Well. I got the only reason. I mean, I watched that because when I joined the military, I was in. I was in the Royal Newfoundland Regiment. And funny enough, the only. The two units that were in Gallipoli, there was Australians and there were Newfoundlanders. So the only North Americans that were in Gallipoli were from Newfoundland.
There you go. Wow. There's your factoid tip of the night.
Very cool.
No,
so
we've got it. True. We talked.
The Royal Newfoundland Regiment actually has a Gallipoli battle honor.
We got to get Ryan Lindley to do that. There's the point of the night, kind of thing.
Should have had him on. Actually, he got to do that question because we're not doing fucking minute at the movies here. Ryan says, "Who are the best allies?" I'm going to go first because I got more tours. Right, or fucking Morgan did cooler shit, because on all 4 deployments, the guys I work with the best, no disrespect to any Americans, were the Brits. That's my answer.
Cool.
Not going to quantify it. I'm just telling you. Morgan, your thoughts?
I'm gonna go with the Americans just because of
air support. Yeah,
air support.
Well, definitely on the last tour, the Americans were, but I'm kind of balancing this across 4 tours in 3 different places.
Yeah.
So that's but the Americans also create a lot of fucking problems for me in Kandahar City. So, but I'm going to leave that out of it. They weren't the finest that America had to offer, and I've worked with the finest that America had to offer. So that's kind of a really tough question. Fair question, Ryan. But in general, my experience working with the Brits, not always good, was the best. But there are times working with the Americans was the best.
Yeah.
You should have said who was the shittiest. The Romanians.
Yeah. I was just going to say the same thing.
Right?
Oh dear.
No offense to Romania, you have great gymnasts. Stay the fuck home.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
We got to wrap this shit up because I have to edit a radio show tonight.
That's all right. I had another question asked, but I'll ask it
You
next.
can. No,
No, go for it.
Wrap up means we got about 5-10
No,
minutes.
I got to be straight up honest with you. This one, I honestly, God, I know Morgan and I'll talk about this for an hour, and it's.
Well, go ahead. I got to go get a beer.
It's essentially, people having to turn their guns in.
Oh, Christ.
That's a separate pod, man.
Right, like I told you, I actually left.
Well, it's
okay. So if I could say something real quick here,
I see.
Morgan actually said one night, he was like, "Fuck, Craig seems like a cool guy.
You guys go nuts. I'll be right back. I got to reload my pill.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
I'm gonna hide. You guys.
One night I had said three things. I think in like a YouTube comment or something like that. I basically said, three ways the government manages to essentially turn you into, what they want you to be. Number one, take away free speech. Number two, take away your right to bear arms. And I think I don't remember what the third one was, but it was basically one of those things. And it's like, essentially that turns you into 1984, The Handmaid's Tale, Brave New World,
all those things.
I mean, all of those dystopias. And I just, for me, I personally speaking, I just want to be able to have the ability to, there's that classic Jim Jeffries, thing of, I want these guns to protect me and protect my family. It's like, well, in actual fact, I really do, because if all of a sudden my government decides to go rogue, I want to be able to protect myself. I don't want Justin Trudeau saying to me, well, you don't really need that gun because of the fact that we know that we're not doing very well right now. And so consequently, we don't want anybody going insane or what have you. I get that. But at the flip side of the coin is like someone like me who keeps them locked up. I don't want to turn anything in to anybody, because I'm sorry if all of a sudden Justin decides to say, you know what, fuck all of you one day. I want to be able to protect myself. I might be protecting myself against a drone, but at least I want that option, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's an easy thing to politicize, and it's an easy thing to kind of, if you know nothing about firearms, you're like, guns are bad, full stop. However, like you said, if you look at Canadian statistics anyway, I mean, I'm not going to talk about the Americans and their Second Amendment or anything like that, because we're Canada, but God love the Americans and I love them. They're awesome. But like you said, by taking away, like I said, by taking away your firearms, by taking away my firearms, I mean, what is that going to do? Do you think the criminals are going to be like, oh shit, well, I got to turn mine in now too? No, they're criminals. Like this, it's ridiculous. And I mean, even because Stats Canada even has keep statistics on it. Like people who gun owners in Canada are less likely to commit crimes than non-gun owners.
We're going into overtime.
No, you're absolutely right.
Fire for Effect Live tonight. I got no problem.
Sorry, we're going overtime because I actually have one more statistic really quickly, Morgan. I just want to jump into really quickly and give you this statistic. I don't know if you've heard this recently, but the police chief actually came out here in Toronto recently and said that like an A crime, like basically somebody is in your home, it takes the police 22 minutes to get there.
Yeah. So it's like 22.
So in 22 minutes, you've been either raped or killed.
Yeah,
they've taken all your shit and they're long fucking gone before the police have even gotten a chance to jump in their car and get to your home.
Yeah,
right?
The police, the police are minutes away when seconds count. I mean,
right. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, in Canada, we are paying for this. We are paying for that.
Yeah,
22 minutes for the police to get to your home. That's where your tax dollars are going. That's why I say shit's fucked up right now.
The government will say like you don't need guns and you don't need ammo, but then the federal governments, across the Western world are buying guns and ammo like it's going out of fucking style, and I will say an alarming rate. So if I'm looking at if the government's buying all these guns and ammo, maybe I should too. Like
exactly. It's like
and
exactly. Anyway, Black Guns Matter.
To come back to your point about the possibility of a tyrannical government, and someone's like, oh, you got a tinfoil hat on. I'm like, dude. Look at the last 100 years.
It's happened how many times? Exactly.
Look at the bullshit. Look at the Bolsheviks. Look at Mao. Look at Pol Pot. I mean, the list goes. Hitler did the same thing to the Jews, right?
And liberals on average are going to be the ones to say you're fucking crazy, and it's like, but you guys are also the ones that were first fucking exterminated because you weren't looking after yourself, right? So it's like it's so fucking it's such a
it's bizarre. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I mean, you could, like I said, I mean, history is history, and it's right there. You just got to pick
Yeah.
up a book and read it.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
you know,
Unfortunately,
a friend of mine.
unfortunately, people are afraid of history, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well, I mean, a friend of mine, his grandmother was a prisoner in Auschwitz and survived.
my wife's family were half of them
Yeah,
were
and
in
that's one
Auschwitz.
thing and one thing that she told him was like, don't ever let the government, take your firearms ever under any circumstance.
There was a T-shirt. I was gonna buy it, and I fucking should, being a redneck Albertan. And it says, "When the government tells you you don't need guns, you need guns."
Yeah, exactly. Well, there was that classic Ronald Reagan line too of how did it go again? Hi, I'm here from the government, and what's the worst thing you can hear in your day is, "Hi, I'm here from the government, and I'm here to help."
Yeah,
So,
Right.
all these
Even Reagan said
even
that.
Reagan, like all
Yeah.
these anti-gun. I love the anti-government people, except when it comes to guns. Like, fuck the CRA, fuck this, fuck that. But oh no, we don't need guns. And don't get me wrong, I've said this before. I've done a whole
Mm.
show on this. It's very controversial. And the assumption is because I'm a white middle-aged male that drives a pickup truck, wears camouflage ball hats, served in the army, and live in Alberta.
Right.
And I have lots of fucking guns, not a
Mhm.
stupid amount, the right amount.
exactly.
And that I'm
Yeah.
this pro super gun guy. And the reality is, I don't think that everybody and his dog should have guns.
Yeah.
I don't think
Because-
that. But
because
if you're going
I
to say
don't
that, I'd be
think
like,
they
I don't
know-
think everybody and their dog should have a driver's license and a goddamn half-ton truck either.
Well, that's
I was
my
like, because they're
fucking point.
dangerous.
That's my point, and I'll give you a good example. I know friends, I know people that are in the RCMP is underfunded as fuck, like the military,
Yeah.
that barely get to fire their service pistol with government issued ammo more than once a year. So when I see like the RCMP guy who doesn't like me because I ride a motorcycle or whatever, and he's got his hand on his gun, I see the older partner there. I'm like, tell that guy to calm down, because I'm not confident he actually knows how to use that fucking thing. I know I do, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he doesn't. So
I've said this
I don't
before.
believe
I've already
that
said this
fucking
already to
everybody
my
should
wife.
have guns.
Yeah, so I've said that. Sorry, Morgan. I've said this to my wife already. It's like, if shit was to ever fucking go down, we're either going to your place, Morgan, or your place, Chris.
Yeah.
We're coming and living with you guys. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, that's
I know
all
a
there is
ton
to
of
it.
assholes who have a ton of guns that don't know how to use them.
Yeah.
No, but
They
here,
got 8 million
but-
rounds of ammo. When the apocalypse happens, they're like, I got 8 million rounds of ammo. How much you got? I said, doesn't matter. I'll just come get yours.
Yeah.
Right.
But
It's a joke,
it's-
obviously.
It's
but
interesting what you said though, Chris. You said like we all know plenty of guys in the military that barely know what the dangerous end of a C7 is.
correct.
And there's plenty of cops that like you're like, oh my god, I can't believe they gave you a pistol, and you qualify with like 10 rounds a year.
If they're lucky.
Now, and you're afraid of a civilian, a straight, dirty, flat faced fucking civilian having a firearm, and I'm like, this guy is no more fucking proficient than, or you think that this guy's gonna be less proficient than a member of law enforcement or military. I would argue that the civilian is probably going to be more proficient. And having worked a little bit in this industry, the best shooters I know, whether it's pistol, carbine, or even long range, like I'm talking like extreme long range, dude, are straight, flat faced civilians, never served a day in the fucking army.
That's
Some of the
true.
best fucking
And
shooters.
probably just love going to a range and
They
practicing and getting
they
better.
shoot more.
We've sent our special operations guys down to the United States to a school for long range shooting run by civvies.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the flip side. There's some gun nuts that are very, 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 very competent that never wore a uniform and probably never been on a 2-way range practice, meaning being shot at. But I can promise you this. Here's what I'm talking about. And I'm going to use a real life example here. And I've said this before on this show a long time ago. Just because you take some 2-day fucking course, which is all that's required in Canada, to get an unrestricted firearms license that at the time allowed you to buy a pistol. They're evil now. You can't buy them. I had a friend and they wanted a pistol. And I said, why? Why do you, they're a civvy. Well, I just like them and I want one at home. I said, okay. So they did their course. They're all proud of themselves and they're going to go buy a fucking handgun. And they're asking me which one I should buy and all this fucking shit. And I said, you shouldn't have one. And they got mad at me. And I went, why are you mad? Well, because I really want this. I said, you have no competency in that fucking, in that thing. Oh, I took the 2-day course. So I went upstairs and I got my pistol brought it down, and I racked it so it's hot, and I handed it to them, barrel pointed at me, and they freaked the fuck out. I said, "You just proved my point." To me and Morgan, it's like a fucking screwdriver, whether it's a pistol, a carbine.
It's just a tool. Yeah.
It's a tool, and I
Yeah.
am 100% comfortable with it, loaded or unloaded. It's a natural extension
Yeah.
of my body that helps me achieve whatever my job is. Now, not everybody is like that, and a lot of people in the military are not like that. Fucking
No.
trust me, I know that. And Morgan knows that as well.
Yeah.
It's those people who are. That's how when you hear about somebody accidentally shot themselves or their buddy or whatever. Just because you take some bullshit 2-day course, I don't believe that like that's good enough. Like we go through weeks of training with any given weapon before we are entry level competency with that weapon in the military. So some fucking civvy that took a 2-day course, unless they put the time in, and that's what Morgan's alluding to. They put the time in. They're at the range every week, blah, 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 putting in the time and become very comfortable with that thing. It's a danger to them and others. And that's why I say, no, not everybody in his fucking dog should have a goddamn gun in this country.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents.
Whereas I guess I'm the freedom guy, and I'm like, guess what? Freedom is fucking dangerous.
I'm waiting for your manifesto to
freedom
come out.
Freedom is dangerous, and if it meant that, you know, people can kind of do whatever the hell they want as long as, you know, they're not infringing on my goddamn fucking rights, I'm like, more power to you, man. Like,
you know what? I respect you two so goddamn much. You know, one thing I will say in regards to the
I'm going to ban the word
thing,
freedom from this podcast.
but
It's
honestly, in regards
abused.
to the word freedom, the one thing that I will say in regards to things being taken away from us, like, first off, I mean, we all know we do not have free speech in this country.
no, we don't.
We don't.
No,
We
hell
don't.
no, you don't.
We don't. We have had, you know, firearms taken away from us, the ability to essentially protect ourselves, right? One thing for me that absolutely, you know, listen, I consider myself a conservative liberal, right? I believe in LGBTQ, all of that good stuff. Everybody's got their own rights. Love who you want to love. I really don't care. It's really technically, it's none of my business, right? I do have conservative tendencies.
You're a libertarian, is what you are.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, I guess I am. Like, technically speaking, I am one of those guys that, as far as capital punishment goes, if it's absolute, like a Paul Bernardo, absolutely. Goodbye. See you later. You don't need to be here. I have. If there's gray area, then absolutely no.
Yeah.
But the thing for me was, in regards to what happened very, very recently, was when the government starts fucking around with people's bank accounts.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah,
that's a serious, serious fucking problem, and everybody needs to wake the fuck up. I don't give a shit what side of the fence you're on. Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
If somebody is basically saying to you, we're going to determine whether or not this week you can buy fucking diapers, that's a problem, because those are Morgan.
Yeah.
Those are the people that you pay. Never.
Craig doesn't get this soapbox on his own pod because
I'm fucking loving this. I got to come back next week.
But one thing,
we'll talk about the fucking Emergencies Act next week if you want, but we can't do this all tonight.
Yeah, one more thing though, like you said, with regards to the bank accounts, and just from a how the rest of the world viewed and views Canada now, if you people actually take the time to go to search out like British news, even everything like Al Jazeera, RT, anything that's not Canadian. Yeah, look at like you know, news from Czechia, from Slovakia, from Romania.
They point
from
to
the Baltic
bank
states. If you look at their news, because of that one event, because how bank accounts were frozen,
they point
to Canada now versus what they did 5 years ago.
Yeah,
like that made Canada look like a fucking goddamn banana republic. Like that made us look so bad on the international stage, and most Canadians are not aware how bad that made us look.
100%. And as far as I'm concerned, those that froze those bank accounts should be taken to trial, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you are telling me what I'm able to fucking
like
buy and not buy,
going on there.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm sorry, I'm completely ignoring it.
This is the calm everybody to fuck down music.
So basically, I'm just saying, like, you know what, Morgan, you're absolutely right. I saw something on, I don't remember who it was, but it was literally a liberal American paper. It wasn't Ben Shapiro. It wasn't, you
No.
Rebel News or anything like that. It was literally a liberal paper in the United States going, freezing bank accounts. Don't like the sound of that very much.
Yeah. Yeah, look at a guy. Look at a guy who. Look at a guy like Bill Maher. I mean, he had like Gavin Newsom on his show. Like, he's an outspoken Democrat. He's a liberal, and he says it every fucking day. And I mean, he looks at Trudeau like he's like he's Mao Zedong. Like,
yeah,
And this guy's a liberal through and through.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, I'm putting a fucking bullet in this right
All
now. There's 75 podcasts in one fucking rant night here going on. Big shout out to DJ Craig G from Revolution Radio Canada, also Canadian as Fuck podcast, which you can listen to and watch on Twitch Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain.
Yeah.
Morgan's on with me. I got a radio show tomorrow night called.
We got to get Morgan on Canadian AF for sure.
Oh, fuck yeah. Because that'll go well. Just got to pick some fiddler songs. Listen to the mixtape tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern, and Saturday.
Part 2? Fuck yeah.
Part 2. I'm just about done the edits, and you'll have it.
That's great, buddy.
We will do this again. Actually, Craig, I love it. I love your energy, and we'll try to fucking like nail like just 3 topics, not 15 in one go.
That might have been my fault. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. Yeah,
talking to you guys, like
Ontario's
I said,
most right-wing guy, Mr. Craig Gador.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. Oh, you said my last name correctly.
I can say your last name.
Yeah, we're gonna have the battle of the right wing. We're gonna see who's more right wing.
We will do this again because I didn't know you were gonna get so passionate because he doesn't get to do this on his show. It's a music show.
Yeah, mostly on Monday nights, I'm just like, oh, this was this and that was that.
But yeah,
Revolution Radio Canada, and but this is
100%. Awesome. But yeah, no, you're welcome back anytime, and we are all about fucking going off script because that's what happens every time, and I have to re-edit my descriptor of what it's about before I upload it to Spotify and shit because it's never what we planned on talking about.
Yeah,
and that's fine. So, and to everybody who commented in, OG Misfit, Ryan Lindley, I know High Explosive was on here. Everybody else, I'm sorry if I didn't get to all your comments. I got to rejig where my monitor and shit is here. A lot of comments, which is good. We will be back in 2 weeks. Topic TBD. Thank you very much. Craig, I'm going to punch out. You can hang in the green room if you want. Morgan, you can hang for a bit. I got to go through some sponsorship shit, so just sit tight, boys. So, here we go. Fire for Effect live, and thank you guys for jumping in. Some good comments tonight. Brought to you by my man Positive Mike. Positive Mike's Brewing. You can get the gear. Check out his socials. Look for Positive Mike on Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever the fuck, Threads. And I have the beer. You can't get the beer yet, but if you come over here, you can get the beer. Also brought to you by the Veteran Farmer. They've been working with me to help me with all my my Veterans Affairs shit. And if you're looking for medicinal cannabis sources to alternative medicine, they will help you out. My good friends, my fucking favorite friends on earth, Mr. Jeff None and his family up at Lakeside Farmstead north of Edmonton, where you can get unbelievably amazing dairy products and the best Wagyu cross beef in Alberta. I get all my meat there. And anybody who's seen my cooking on IG or has tasted my food knows that Jeff and his family produce the best beef, in my opinion. Check out the mixtape tomorrow night on revolutionradio.live. Yes, go to your phone. We have a new website. Go to revolutionradio.live. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m., you're going to hear 1984 Part 2. That will be replayed on Saturday at the same time. There's a couple other shows that are on that, including Mr. Derek Lewis with All Uncovered, and soon Mr. Mad Dog Chris Myers with The Rabbit Hole. And that is fucking her. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a good one, and I am out.